And welcome back. It's time once again for book club, and Conrad Stump is back from the Springfield Greene County Library. Conrad, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so I teased a second ago that we've got the holiday season here, and people probably looking for books to read while on the road or traveling or whatever. And you're just the guy. So
right. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So we've got 3 selections today. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is called Butts, A Backstory, and it's by Heather Radke. Is that how you say it?
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So this comes out next week from Avid Reader Press.
Okay.
And I just love like social histories, cultural studies, because it's such a fun, interesting way to learn about history.
Yeah.
And like butts are something that you think like, oh, okay, that's not that complicated.
Yeah.
But they're connected to like pop culture, art history, literary history. So like even this thing that we think is really just like an everyday thing, it has this whole cool history. So that's what I like about these things.
That is super interesting. So how would you say like this book compares to maybe other novels that touch on those kind of pop culture like phenomenons or like, I guess, hot topics? Yeah,
definitely. Well, and I think, right, it's sort of, hot topics are kind of pop culture, and like the pop culture of today is not necessarily like the pop culture of yesterday. So like there is stuff in there, you hear about famous butts of the day like J-Lo, Kim Kardashian, but it's really cool to see this line going back, the 1980s, the 1880s, into the 1700s, about how butts kind of came to be, the female butts specifically came to be this object of fascination or repulsion, kind of based on the viewer and based on the cultural trends of the time.
Okay.
So there's some like, there are references that someone who's not necessarily interested in history would get because they are interested in pop culture.
Yeah, it's like relevant in a way.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. All right, the second book you brought me is called The Forever Witness. So tell me about this one.
Yes, yeah. So this comes out next week from Dudden Books, and it's about genetic genealogy, which is a science that has really like expanded over the past few years, and it's been used to solve a lot of cold case murders. And so The Forever Witness is basically about the first genetic genealogy murder trial in the case behind it. So this 1987 murder of this couple on an overnight trip to Seattle, sort of how genetic genealogy was used to solve that crime.
That is super fascinating. Okay, so for people that really like true crime, which we know there's a big group out there, including the person next to me.
Sure,
what are they going to love most about this book?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, one thing that I really love about the book is the relationship between the investigator on the case and the amateur genealogist who's also looking into it. So they're both working on this and they kind of come together. And so it's, part of it is about the case, but part of it is also about these two people who are connected by their determination to solve this 30-year-old murder.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that, internet sleuths. Like there are these people who just kind of are connected on the internet talking about these cases. They're fascinated, but they've never met. So this is kind of a cool, like, there's a cool human story about the investigator and the researcher in this that I think they would connect to.
Yeah. Do you feel like with all that being said that there's like a lot to take away from it and the reader would learn a lot about this?
I think it definitely makes you think about like the ethical questions behind genetic genealogy, right? Like how much business do genealogists have like prying into the private lives of strangers, and like, how much business do you have as someone investigating this saying like, oh, hey, here are all these family secrets that I found out about your family, even though you never asked me to tell you that.
Right, but now I know it, so there it is. Okay, that's really interesting. Now the last book you brought me today is called Conversations with Bird.
Yeah, so this is a recent release from Milkweed Editions by Priyanka Kumar, and so basically she is a novelist and filmmaker who grew up in this sort of remote mountainous region of India that was very lush. And she moved to California when she was a teenager. And of course, that was very drastically different as far as what had been done to the natural world.
Yeah.
And so in her 20s, she falls in love with birding. And so it's kind of her journey, seeking out these creatures and connecting with them. That's really at the heart of this book. But it's kind of a love letter to birding and to the natural world.
It sounds like a very interesting storyline that I feel like is, I don't know, maybe going to be surprising in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a universality to it, and sort of like, we all interact with the natural world on a daily basis. And I think what is surprising about it is the way that it can make you sort of appreciate all that more, right? Like just the little things in life, and this species of bird, this species of tree, this mountain range, like how do you look at the world? And so I think it's surprising to kind of take that step back and remember that there's all this cool stuff around us.
All right, I love that. Conrad, always appreciate your insight and perspective. Thanks for being here, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.